stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Will be heard. Will be heard.
This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU. This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU. This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU. This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU. This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU. This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU. This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU. This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU. This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU. This is straight talk, leads to straight understanding. Straight talk. STSU.
Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Sean Bowden, Sean B here. Straight talk leads to straight understanding. And tonight we're gonna kind of reflect from last week. We're gonna play a couple of clips from last week. In case you didn't know, I started last week and the topic was only person you can trust is yourself. Today we're gonna have the topic of children, parenting, and is it a choice or is it an obligation? Is it a choice or is it something that we rendered and that's ordered to us? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We only are going to be here for an hour. I got it timed today. Not going over an hour. We're going to see how that works out for us. Those who want to join us, I welcome you. I welcome you. Come on up and join us. But in the meantime, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for coming with me. And I'm going to just get started real soon. So last week I was speaking to a few people, and I got so much feedback from it that I had to make it a topic of conversation this week. You know what it was is that we was talking about only person you can trust, and I made mention that my daughter and I had a conversation, and that she felt that it was my obligation to be a parent, to be a father, to do what I was doing, and her mother to do what she was doing as a parent. And I said, baby girl, it's a choice. This is something that we chose to do. This is not something that we are obligated to do. And she said, well, when you decide to have a child, it's obligated. So she actually called me saying, I agree with Stephanie. Stephanie, which is the Wife School podcast, who was my special guest last week. Maybe she'll join us this week. But she too had said something. I'm going to share that with y'all later. But she said that she too felt like it was obligation. And we also had Alicia, who was on the line, and her and Alicia agreed. So all the women happened to agree that they felt like it was an obligation. So it gave me the opportunity or the thought to have to, go further in this conversation and see, is this a lady thing? Is it a gender thing? Is it, do you feel a little bit more obligated because you carried the child and yeah connected in a different way than men can ever connect? But men feel obligations as well when they take the responsibility. But it is a choice to take the responsibility was a position that I was standing on, and I'm still standing 10 toes on it. And I got some receipts to go ahead and touch on it. Mariama, how you doing today? You're welcome to join us too, because I'm curious if any ladies are in the house and want to join us. We're gonna put up the link in the comments, and I'm curious. Do you feel it's an obligation or a choice to be a parent? When you have a child, do you feel it's an obligation or is it a choice? My vote is it's a choice. And I'm trying to understand why there's anybody, because what I told my daughter, I said, if you feel like it's an obligation, that has a sense of entitlement. Now, she doesn't have any children, so she might not relate, but that had a sense of entitlement. But when she came and called me, I agree with Stephanie, and and we went into a deeper conversation. She said, because my question last week was to the ladies, if you fail, let's say a test, if you fail a test, do you feel you did well? Plain and simple question. So, they kind of moved the goalposts and was trying to say, well, it depends on the circumstances. I said, nah. I'm not trying to get into no circumstances. I'm asking a very, very distinct and very clear question. Yes or no? If you fail a test, do you feel you did well? So my daughter and I, she kind of jumped on the same thing. It was like, nah, it depends on the circumstances. I said, okay, let's look up the word. So we looked up the word fail. We looked up the word well. And failure, I'm not gonna I'm paraphrase because I don't remember the exact definition, but failure was not accomplishing one's goal. And I said, if you're taking a test, you're taking a test to pass, not to fail. And I said, it doesn't matter what failing grade is, what the point is you fail. Whatever that is, whatever that mark is, that's what you achieve, failure. Now, if you fail, do you do well? And I just couldn't understand how, in fact, they really was like, yeah, well, it depends on what you consider well. I'm like, no. So correct me when I'm wrong, and we're going to get into that conversation because that's what segued into the fact of feeling like it's an obligation. You are supposed to, you're supposed to take care of the child if you choose. So upon further research, I found out that not only do you have the choice of adoption, you have the choice of deleting, if that's a choice. What's up? And you have the other choices as well. But the point is, it's actually a choice. Now, in fairness, I told my daughter, and I'm gonna tell all the ladies or all those who disagree with me this. I'm speaking specifically of the choice to have the child, not the choice of taking care of the child, because those are two choices. You can choose to have a child, but not choose to care or take the responsibility of a parent of that child. Now, let me explain because that sounds a little confusing. If you choose to have the child, right, but you choose to give the child up for an adoption, then guess what? You're choosing not to take the responsibility of the parent. And that's what I was specifically speaking to. If you made the choice to have the child, which, you know, I commend that choice. I commend when you take the time to make the decision to bring the child into this world. You know, there was an argument of, well, the child didn't ask to be here, so that's why it's your obligation. Mm, Well, the child didn't ask not to be here either. Think about it. Child might not, we can speculate that the child didn't ask to be here because the child didn't have a choice to be here, so on and so forth. But then again, you ask adopted children, and they will say opposite on the regular, you know, that I'm glad that I was here, despite the choice that my parents made to give me up for adoption or whatever the case may be. So they don't have the choice, but at the same time, they don't have the choice to be here either. They don't have the choice not to be here, and they don't have the choice to be here. So that's really an unfair point of view, is what I was stating or what I was arguing, and that's just just facts. So with that being said, I'm gonna continue on, but some of I'm gonna ask my guest to come in after he's done. I have Peter there, and I'm gonna ask anybody who wants to join. We're gonna put up the link inside the comments so that you can join as well. And if you have my number, you can't find the link, I can send you over the link. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send it over to Wife School. I know Alicia's here. Hopefully, she'll be able to join us as well because guess what? Both of the comments I will play, and they both were against what I was saying, and I understood that, But quite frankly, this is what I'm sharing. I'm like, hey, if in fact you choose to take on the responsibility as a parent, again, it's a choice. I don't know why, both of the ladies who I was speaking to last week, their position was I felt obligated. And I even asked a question. I said, well, that's a fair point of view, but why don't you feel obligated to have that same position no matter what when it comes to your husband? And I wasn't speaking to anybody directly, but I'm speaking to all ladies. When it comes to your man, your husband, whatever you want to call him, why don't you take that same position that you take with a child, with the obligation to live up and to honor whatever it is that you chose, whatever design of your relationship that you chose? Because if you are saying that that's an obligation, that your child is an obligation, then wouldn't your relationship be an obligation as well? I mean, that's my question. Correct. I mean, I would love to hear your answer because, quite frankly, these are choices that we make. And in fairness, we don't always make the best choices. I know I haven't made the best choices plenty of times in my life. Plenty of times. I still don't make the best choices sometimes. But the point is, we got to be mature enough, able enough, willing enough to identify and recognize when we make bad choices. And for some reason, as a father, I have made bad choices. But when I bring up, and that's how the whole, mother test thing came up last week, because when I brought up, if you failed as a mother, and they said, oh, no, I did my best. That is the common thing that I hear so often. It's almost, I don't know how I feel about it, but I hear it often from ladies. Well, I did my best. That doesn't negate if you fail. And that's how I came up with the analogy. If you fail the test, do you feel you did well? Now, it's no problem to fail at anything. I failed at fatherhood sometimes. And women, sometimes you fail at motherhood. But don't feel bad about that. Don't feel like that's the end of the world. Like you can't fail at motherhood. We make mistakes. There's no book on how to raise a child or how to be a good mother, father, etc. There's no book in that. So how do you expect to always pass? and not have any failures, not have any challenges, any complications. That just comes along with the territory, as in anything else. You don't always win at everything, unless you Khaled talk about all I do is win, 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 and he don't always win. He ain't winning with his weight loss, is he? He ain't winning there. So he don't all he do is win, 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 no matter what. Uh, I can't relate because I don't have no children. The only thing my nephews view me as a nice mother aunt. Um, I'm not harsh on my nephews. It's my sister does all the discipline on her two sons. Now I understand that, Mariana, and that's exactly that's a fair assessment. I get it. I'm like that with now my other people's kids. I'm like that always. Nah, I'll have fun. I'll enjoy. But when it comes down to the discipline, I'm a little more disciplinary. So I might have a tone or something. Nah, don't do that. Hey, stop. But nah, it ain't my job. If you want to let them run a buck, run wild, get wild in the joint. I don't care. Just make it as long as it ain't my joint. If you in my crib and you running wild, hey, yo, stop, get your little. Yeah, I might do that. But as far as if it's I go to somebody and visit their crib and their house and their kids are there and their kids are running a buck, I'm like, hey, this is what we doing over here. All right, maybe I'll go ahead and get wild too. I'll start joining them. This is what we do. Hey, they loud. I'm loud. They running around in circles and jumping on their head and rolling over on the floor. I'm running and joining them. I'm being a little kid too because I might not have had enough child moments in my life. I'm trying to rekindle that. So anyway, but yeah, I understand that, Mariana, and that's fair. The point of view that I'm asking is, as a parent, well, answer this, Mariana. If you did have a child, you chose to have a child, or you got pregnant, right? Let's start there because that's where it starts. You got pregnant. Now, the one thing that people don't have, and I had this portion of, just because you chose to have sex don't mean you chose to get pregnant. There are things that could happen. There are things that now, of course, not to have sex and to abstain is the only way you can avoid that. But let's just say you and a man chose to have sex. This is what y'all chose to do. And a mistake happened, a mishap happened, and you got pregnant. Now, y'all didn't go in choosing to have a child. Y'all went in choosing to have sex. Correct? So now that you done had this sex and this mishap happened, now you got to deal and make another choice. What do you do from here? Now, let's just say neither one of y'all, both of you are opposed to deleting, I guess is the common phrase that people use, the child. So neither one of y'all are for that. Y'all are pro-life. Let's just say that. So with that being said, y'all choose to allow the child to come into the world. Now, that's choice number 2. All right. But y'all still didn't choose to take on a responsibility as a parent, perhaps. Y'all chose, you know what, we don't believe in the A word, the AB word, and so there's no choice but to bring the child into the world. Now, y'all might feel it's overwhelming and y'all might feel that parent responsibilities you're not prepared for. What do you do at that point? You got choice number 3. Now, do you take on the obligation? The choice, or is it an obligation that now that you chose to bring it in the world, that you're obligated to be a responsible parent? That's where we had a little difficulty because, and I the few women that I did poll, they chose that they felt like it was an obligation. I chose to have this my child, and they start really making a child a possession. And while I understand that, my daughters, children are possessions. And then there's this. I run into this often. Older women specifically, and then younger women as well. I just want a baby. I want a baby. But they really kind of think of a baby sometimes as a doll baby because it's real cute, all cuddly and loving. And until it has legs of its own and can walk, and it has a mind of its own and it can talk. And then all of a sudden, get that, yo, get in. Now you're frustrated. Now it's taking its toll, the responsibility of what you have to do. But this is what you wanted. Oh, I just want it. They kind of sometimes, and not all women. Don't get it twisted. Not all they. I mean, but y'all know the women who have, and we all have had one in our lives where they dress it, especially if they have a boy. They dress their little boy or how they want that, what they think is cute and little designer stuff and jeans and looking all handsome, as they would say, or the daughter looking like a twin of theirs, like a little and all of these little fresh things. They like it's a doll baby. It's frustrating to me because I see young women, in this case, it's young women, not older women, who have that mentality, who will sit there and dress up this baby and it's all good, and then I hear them get it yelling at the kid, or in manners that is just inappropriate. And so I just say, yo, why do they feel it's cute? It's a responsibility. And then you have those who take on the responsibility but cannot live up to the responsibility throughout. It becomes challenging, it becomes overwhelming, especially if they separate from the father. That's why I support family, I support marriage, I support togetherness, interdependency. I support interdependency, not independence. I've learned this later on in my life. I taught my daughter, for example, to be independent. But I learned from some of the gentlemen that what I should have been saying is not independent, just being prepared to be responsible for yourself. Big difference between independent and responsible for yourself. Responsible for yourself is just the average person needs to do that. The average person needs to be responsible for themselves. But being independent means you can't count on, rely on anyone, which goes back and segues to the topic of last week, which is only person I can trust is myself. What happens when you do that? You really don't have the capacity to learn to trust someone, and it becomes challenging in having relationships, successful relationships, that is, because you kind of have the tendency to just, oh man, I can't rely on them. And so the more you get disappointed by somebody who's not reliable, the more that you find yourself not wanting to rely on anyone but yourself. And when you start relying on no one but yourself, one, you become possibly controlling, and two, what's going on? Two, you become um, selfish. So,
Hey, Sean, your volume went really low again, by the way.
oh man, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so yeah, oh, I see what it is. I gotta okay, but yeah, so those are two things that happen, and both of those things, in my opinion, is where we have some challenges at times. Okay, I think my headset went dead. Can you hear me now, Peter?
Yep, you're fine, nice and clear.
I'm going to talk with a lot. Okay, cool. Can you still hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right, cool. So yeah, like I was saying, a lot of times when you only can trust yourself, you become selfish, you become self-indulged, and you also become controlling. And the reason why you become controlling, from what I've gathered, is because you're trying to control that which is around you to protect yourself from the disappointment or the hurt that comes with relying on someone else. So I don't see any of the comments. So let me see if I can see some over here. All right, I see.
Here's one of them.
All right. They dress up the child on the outside, but don't dress up the child on the inside. Man, Keith, definitely. So you know what I'm talking about. Anybody who's been in the hood, who was around the hood, raised in the hood, you know what I'm talking about. My uncle Keith, he definitely can relate, because yeah, you definitely start seeing when somebody, especially young. Okay, I'm gonna send you the link, Keith. All right, especially young children, because the young children, there's a link. It's on anybody who wants to see it. That's late. Who wants to join us?
Yeah, a few comments up. Yeah, scroll a little up and you'll see it.
Yeah, you scroll a little up on the comments, you'll see it. But if you have my telephone number, you can definitely call me, and I can send it to you as well. That can be an easy way. So either way, I'll get the link over to you because I want you to join us. The rules are to join the stream: no smoking on camera, no eating on camera, dress properly, camera must be on, and microphone must be on. So those we had some challenges with a guest who was very insightful and added
That's an understatement.
yeah, he added to the podcast, and I really enjoyed his presence. But his presence might have been offensive to some people who was looking at it. You know, not us guys, but to some of our lady friends. They was like, "Hey, what's going on? The guy is smoking, and he don't have a shirt on." So you know, we're just doing that for measures of good etiquette. So with that being said, though, if you ever been in the hood, as what I was saying, you see a lot of these young ladies who have children and really treat the child like a baby doll. And I say that because once that child start walking, and once that child start talking, you start seeing a whole different parent come out of them. They start yelling at, get your lip, cursing and doing all types of belligerent things. Now they want to spank the child. Hey, this is what you
Sean, I'm gonna cut you off, but you're 100% right. I grew up in New York myself, and as soon as a kid can actually stand on 2 feet, they're buying Timberlands, they're buying Nikes, Under Armour, whatever you can, and they're dressing up like kids like he's going about to stroll down, as a work model, and the next thing you know, he's cursing them out and using the N word like you little. I'm like,
man,
whoa.
who you telling? And again, I see that. Like I'm in New York right now, right? And I remember walking down the street. First off, I ain't built for New York sometimes, man. I get out here and I get aggressive. Like today, literally, I got out. This is the only place where they sit on that horn constantly. I hear more horns, more horns, and it's just like the cars are yelling at me, and I'm like, yo, I don't know if I'm built for this no more. You get out here and you become aggressive. So I understand the aggressiveness of New York. I don't always agree with it, but I understand it. And what I'm saying about it is that it's not always appropriate for children. I remember when I was walking down the street one day, and this woman damn near cursed out her little, it was a 2-year-old baby, like it was a grown person. Didn't I tell you, get over here, grabbing? And I'm like, wow. And I don't get involved and try and, reprimand or jump in on things like that, because I ain't trying to get into an altercation trying to trying to correct somebody. But the point being is that, man, it's plentiful, and it's really difficult to deal with if you haven't been around it. Toxic ways, once you are removed from them, you see them so quickly and so clearly. And that's not just mother to child or father to child. It's in relationships. It's in business. You just see things immediately. Like I see things now that, you know how they say red flags, man. I see things now that are beyond red flags. I'm like, oh man, in relationships to where I don't even want to go on dates. And the ladies who are interested in me, they like, what do you mean we can't go on date? I'm like, yo, I don't even want to have that intimate moment to where we can risk getting intimate. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know what you're about. I want to see your patterns, and I don't want to see your representative is who you giving me. I know that. And you're gonna give me that representative just like men give representatives to women. We gotta get beyond that. And the easiest way for me to get to it is by removing any potential intimacy, i.e., that's why I don't want to go on dates. And it's a little weird, but I kind of am adopting this concept of marrying to date instead of dating to marry. Have you ever heard that one, Peter?
No, please explain.
Marry to date. Like you get married and then you date your wife.
Okay, that's a similar situation with my boy, CQ. He married his wife to date her.
Right.
And
And
there's more backstory. I don't want to put his business out
right.
there.
And
Uh, Go ahead. I'm
instead
sorry.
of
Go ahead.
dating to marry, which we do it all the time. We date and then we try to transition into wanting to get married. But that doesn't, that always can be cloudy, and that's why the divorce rate to me is becoming challenging because there's a lot of people who date and like the dating, and then they get used to each other, and they just get married at that point instead of marrying to date. I just invited my uncle up again. So yeah. Now, Mariana, I said I cannot relate. I saw that comment. Anybody who has a comment in reference to anything I said, but today's topic, I'll reiterate it again, is being a parent an obligation or is it a choice? And it comes from last week's conversation. As a matter of fact, here's what we can do. Peter, you know the symbol that no, we're gonna go with
Which one
white
will you do first?
schools,
Okay.
white schools comment. Then we'll go with Alicia's comment
Hmm.
because we only got about 30 minutes. Then we'll go with Alicia's comment. And then we'll go into the other two. Did you get to the other two?
Yeah, I got all four of them you sent me. But one thing I want to say, I want to answer your question personally.
Yeah.
It is a choice to be a parent. Very simple. It's your choice to lay in bed with that person. So you do make that choice. You choose who you date. You choose who you be around. You choose who you want to marry, and you choose who you want to have kids with. So you do choose to be a parent if you want to or not.
I agree. I agree. Keith, salute. What's going on, Unc?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
Doing well, doing well. So tonight's topic, Keith, from last week, is being a parent. Is it a choice or is it an obligation?
It's always a choice. It's a choice, but it becomes an obligation. But then again, it's something. If you're ready for it or not, once it's there, it's time to step up. Because
Well,
like I heard you, like I was hearing you saying, like, well, if you had sex and you didn't plan for a kid, but now you got it, now it's there. What you gonna do? You know, and they just ignore the fact because they were my mother, your grandmother, had me at 34.
right.
She was already set in her ways. She wasn't planning to have me, but
Uh,
she met somebody, had sex, and had me, and she did like I said, she did what she can do. As a
yeah.
34-year-old woman, 34-year old parent with a newborn baby.
You just triggered another question that I have, and this question I'm gonna throw out there to you guys. But I really wish we had a lady here because I really want to hear that viewpoint. But the question,
Hang on a second. Mariana, can you please join us? Because I could use your help on this one.
yes, Mariana, please join us. I'm gonna see if I could text Steph. Maybe she can join us as well. But the question is that you just triggered, Keith, um, um, is that what is the good age to have a child?
Ooh.
What is the good age?
Yeah, like what
Well, they say you can't even put no label on that. To be honest, you know, you can't. You try to plan. You try to figure it out, but there is no definite good age. It's when God permits you that gives you that gift to have one. You have to be able to establish its things, and then it's choices. Then you got new choices you got to make, new changes you have to make in order to provide for that child and try to raise that child to be a productive citizen, which in some cases, a lot of cases, don't work out that way.
That's why I asked about the age because I understand and I agree with a lot of your points. But I guess what it boils down to, the age is when you are mature enough to take on a responsibility.
Yeah, true.
That might be a golden answer because I never thought about it until you just said that. And I'm like, there is no real age, to have a child. But the mentality of taking on the responsibility of being a parent should be you should be at that point, whatever that age is. And not a lot of us get to that point.
We
Here's my
know
pushback.
we know somebody that had a kid at 13 years old.
I know
That's where my pushback was. Kids are having kids. When you're a kid having kid, you're not ready.
but that's unfair because if we look back at generations, like when I speak with my mother, that's when they were having kids and they were having successful marriages
Time out
and
here, Sean. How
successful.
old was your mother? How old was your mother when she had her first kid?
Well, not she was in her 20s, but
20s,
but
not
no, but
13,
she
not
said a lot
14, not
of her
15.
friends in her generation, they had marriages and children in their teenage years, like right after high school. So it's arguable because again, there is no right age. If you
And that's because it was legalized to have it after 18. Before we was even born, they had kids at 14.
That's my point. And they had
And
kids and they had marriages at 14. It was a different legal age in different states that was a lot younger. There was a lot of different elements that added to that. Not to say that they were ready, because to your point, they might not have been ready. But the reason why I say that and why I say kids having kids is not a fair argument because I was a teenager, 17, and I took on a responsibility of a relationship that like a husband would. And that was a choice of mine. I was honoring my relationship. I wasn't out there chasing my yin yang. I was actually honoring it. Now, I got burnt, I got hurt, but the point being is that never changed my idea of doing that. And the reason why I had that at that age is because my father, that's mom's talking to you, Keith. She said it's a little of both, because once you're a parent, you've made the decision for yourself and someone else. But we could get jobs, and that's true. That's part of it. Now, here's what it is. This is what I had to explain to my daughter because Keith, last week after the show, after the clip that we said, Kiara called me up like, I agree with Stephanie, and what do you mean? Not an obligation, and we had a conversation about it, but I said we're arguing different points. I didn't say it's not a responsibility or it's not an obligation when you choose to take on the responsibility.
right, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Now, I said it's a choice to take on the responsibility
yeah.
because you have adoption, you have a lot of different scenarios, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, but there's other choices you can make, including that AB word that's so controversial. That's another choice that you can make.
AB
So,
word.
and the point being is that there are so many
Oh boy.
choices that can be made. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't say that on YouTube, so we have to use another
Oh.
word, A and
Oh,
B, or
okay.
deletion is another exception word you can use on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha. I got you.
So these are all choices, but that's what I told her. I said after you take on the responsibility, you choose to take on the responsibility. Yes, it's your obligation. But before you choose to take on that responsibility, it's not your obligation. It's your choice to take on a responsibility. And that's what I was sharing with her. Why I said, I don't feel that you're entitled. But when you start saying that, because you don't know how many sacrifices a parent makes for you until you become a parent and you got to make those sacrifices where it becomes, you can't go certain places. You can't do certain things because you got to think of your child. You got to think of your wife. You got to think of this, and this. Mothers are known for it. I wholeheartedly put my hands up and applaud mothers because they do it sometimes too much. To your point last week, Peter, where you said they coddle their children. They try and give them everything.
I still agree. Listen, I'm not a biological father, but I've been a stepfather, a couple times. And you're right. You do have to sacrifice things when you're in that position. Biologically or not biologically, I don't give a shit how you want to break it down. A father's a father in the day. So whatever you need to do to provide that kid a good home, a good grown up environment, whatever you, however you want to break it down, is up to you to do it. It's not only up to you as the man, and is also up to the woman too. Is two people, it takes two people to make a baby, so it takes two people to raise something. Kind of like common sense. I think that's one.
Well, here, let's get into the videos because we got about 20 minutes left. By the
You
way,
want to play the first one? You said.
let's do a white school and then do uh no, let's do yeah, do white school.
What you said about how you addressed your daughter, saying you choose to help her, because I understand that we steward over our children because we chose to have them. You understand? We chose. We made a choice that brought about a life that we have to steward till they are okay, or they go before us, or they go before us. But that was a choice we made from them. So from that moment, if you decided to, you said, well, I kept her, so okay, cool. You made the initial choice to be there for her. Now, the capacity that you promised to be there, that can change. You know what I'm saying? He said, well, I didn't agree with what you said about.
So that was white school's comment. Now,
Hmm.
and she disagreed with what I said about the choice, and we're gonna show what she disagreed with in a second. I'm gonna send that over to you, Peter. But let's hear what
Okay.
Alicia said before we go into that. I'm gonna send you over the other one.
All right.
This is Alicia.
What happened here?
That's part of why I like to having these conversations, these straight talks, so that we can get a different perspective and maybe have a better understanding.
All right, Sean. Did I mess that up? Do you have a specific time?
Maybe, yeah, I think so. But let me go ahead and try and resend it. But nonetheless, I can kind of tell you what, um, man. But it would be much better to hear it from her.
Yeah.
So
Tell me what time I can clip it.
I'll resend it over to you.
Yeah, it's gonna reset again because this is the whole video, so it's not a specific clip.
No,
Makes sense.
it's a clip, but it will show the whole video as well if you allow it to. Hold on, I'll resend it. Uh, but yeah, but to her point, to white school point, what she didn't agree with is that it's a choice. And here, I'm gonna play with you guys. This is what I said to her. Listen up. Tell me if you can hear it. This is why we have a disconnect at times
Good.
between men and women, because women take on responsibilities and feel obligated to responsibilities that often aren't theirs.
I
And
don't
I
feel
was thinking,
obligated though. It's my
and,
son.
well,
I feel like it's not an obligation. It's something that I don't even feel obligated to. It's just something I feel. He's my son. I'm not. Of course, I'll be there. Of course, I'll do this. I'll do that.
well, the reason why I said that is because I was going to continue and say you should feel the same way about your husband, which you often don't. Why is that? So, and she said, "Wow, that's because that was what I was sharing with you earlier. Is that when mothers have a tendency to feel obligated?" And I asked the ladies in fairness, I said, "Could that be because they actually have something we will never have? They have a connection and a feeling about their child that we won't ever have because it didn't grow inside of us. So they have feelings that we just might not be able to understand." And that might be why they feel obligated. That's why I ask women that all the time. Is it partially, maybe it's that they make a connection that us men will never be able to make. If you have something wrong inside of you,
Because that child is a part of her. It grown out of her womb. It takes part of we all take part of the mental, spiritual, and physical form from a mother. Because it's constantly every day for 9 months it's feeding you Mama speed. It takes on the emotions that the mother's giving at the same time while having it. Something that we won't know. We see the outside.
Right.
We see it growing from the outside, but we don't feel it growing on the inside.
Right.
And
And
then,
that's
when the child is born, that's when we take it's our part. That's when we take part. And far as as men are supposed to be provided. I'm like homeboy. I don't have no biological kids myself, but I raised a whole bunch of them.
right.
And to this day, they call me dad. They still call me daddy. They still call up to see how I'm doing. And now they're grown. I even got grandchildren that a couple of grandkids that's not me by blood, but I raised them.
Right.
And I don't and reason why they take part of me because I was always around them.
Yeah.
Because their mothers left them.
Right.
So they still got the characteristics of their mother, but they got the knowledge and survival part from me.
Right. And you're making a very good point because, like we said, we won't ever know that feeling of growing. But what they won't ever know is that when they stress, we stress, and we can see their stress.
Yeah, but we don't show it
We do. We show it in a lot of different ways. We
different ways.
sometimes
But as women, they want us to. They show it outturn and externally.
right.
We'll show out internally because we have this complex as men that wants to be has we're not allowed to cry, we're not allowed to share, show them it makes us weak. You know what I'm saying? That vulnerability is hard for a man, but when we do show our vulnerability, it's hard for any woman to really understand.
Well, you're right, and I'm glad you said that because you just hit a target word: vulnerability. We all are afraid of showing our vulnerability, both women and men, and it appears in different ways. It appears sometimes in like us, we not showing our sentiments and our emotions. With them, it might be acting out on their emotions, but we both are afraid of being vulnerable. Here's a woman, for example, and a sign of a woman not wanting to show a vulnerability, cursing a man out. No, 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 no. She's really trying to protect her heart by being boisterous. It's kind of like a lion roaring before an attack, or a dog barking. They're doing it often because they're afraid. They're afraid of being vulnerable where you can hurt them, so they're trying to do things. Even they bite you, and that's another sign of showing vulnerability, or trying to cover up vulnerability, hitting and fighting and trying to protect yourself. If you need to protect yourself, then there's something that you're protecting that's vulnerable.
Now, picture now that what you said has been said at that point. It said now she has a child. How now this even is that strength of showing that boy is even 10 times stronger.
Absolutely, absolutely, because yeah, they now are not only protecting themselves, but like a mama bear, they're protecting their cubs.
Right.
Like a mama lion, they're protecting their cub. They out there and they will kill. They will kill that man over their children. And I commend that. I actually admire that about women. I just wish that they would have that same energy when it came to somebody that will kill for them.
Yeah. Well, you do have those like that. You do have that same energy, but has been parents. You don't put just as being parents and adult and mature people who's raising a child shouldn't ever have to be in that situation. Far as far as killing to recognize each other's strength and use that strength to build together is one thing, but to kill off anything in the path is very hard.
All right. Well, we got about you're right. We got about 10 minutes. So I don't want to stray off the topic because that's another good topic what you're talking about right there. But my mother just said men do exact same thing. They start an argument for no reason because they are afraid. I agree. Say, baby, I don't like that. They're afraid to say, baby, I don't like that. That makes me feel like less of a man. Can we come to a compromise? And she's right. I agree wholeheartedly. Sorry, I don't understand. She's right, and I agree wholeheartedly. Often, though, a man does do that. He does say, baby, and he does do all of those things, and it's not responded to.
But sometimes you do you say that. I know I have, and they
That
don't want to hear it.
that's what I just said. And
Yeah.
this is something that I have conversations with women about all the time is the selective hearing. We have selective hearing, they have selective hearing, but what they selectively hear is when they want something, it's like, okay, I hear it. But when they don't want it, it's like, I don't want it, and I don't want it, I don't want it. And you know, and it boils down to we spoil our women and they spoil us.
Agree.
You know, Meredith, I'm a man like that. Um, I'm not sure of what other men. There's plenty of men like me. I'm not a unicorn, but there are men who actually will say that. Will say, "Hey, babe." I know that I usually, like Peter just said, we got two men right here who said, "Yo, I will come and say, hey, yeah, that's how you sound. I don't wanna." You don't sound that way to yourself, but that's how it sounds to us. We ask you something simple like, "Yo, can you just do this for me?" I don't wanna. You don't say. You
My
don't.
favorite one. My favorite one, Sean. Honey, what do you want for dinner? I don't know.
Oh
Hey, I
man,
don't care. I don't know. Okay, let's get taco. I don't want taco. I'm like, all right,
you don't
let's get
wanna.
burger. I don't want burger. Oh man, what the fuck do you want then?
And y'all know this. That's why you laughing. Y'all know this. When y'all don't want something, you will deflect. You will say, "No, nah, you know this." So but the point is, to y'all points, we have to learn how to be more mature with one another, and it doesn't just fall on one gender. I think it's on all of us, and we sometimes fail at that. There women say men don't know how to show emotion. Some men even agree with that. That's some bull crap. You know why?
I think it's
I
bullshit
know a
too.
jail full of men who are very emotional. Think
I've been
about it.
emotional over a woman. I cried over her.
Think about what I just said. In jail,
Oh, I know. I know what you
about
said.
70% of men are overly emotional. That nigga
Oh,
stepped on my shoe. Yo,
when
what
I
you,
worked for the
you doing
prison,
that? Blah, 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 blah. You know,
when I worked for the
we all
prison,
been guilty of it.
yeah, dude. When I worked for the prison, I have some inmates cry because they were in there.
Yeah. And I mean that's natural. I'm just saying the emotional point, the lack of emotional ability to control their emotions. Like we say, women need to control their emotions. Men don't need to control their emotions too. Because we all have been at a point where we fighting over nothing. Think about it.
Exactly. Exactly.
We
That's
used to
what.
fight over somebody stepping on our shoe.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But that's why as of now, I exercise being emotionally intelligent,
And
and I
and
and I find out the facts first before I even react, and I learn how to not to react off my emotions now.
and, and that and
No
that
matter
takes
how.
maturity, and we not always mature, and that's why I said if you go to jail you'll see a lot of men who are not emotionally mature. Not just jail, don't get it wrong. You don't only get locked up when you're emotionally immature. You come out here on these streets, you see a lot of emotionally immature men who I usually identify by saying, who hurt you? Yo, I ain't ever gonna do that no more. He ain't never gonna do it. Yeah, yo, it won't. I remember having the first time I even went on, I think with Peter and Precious, a guy had went viral because he said, once you cross that bridge, we ain't never coming back. I said, why not? They said, because you broke that trust. Okay, that happens. That as a man, you need to be able to get over it. Like we asking women to get over it all the time. Get over it. Who hurts you that you can't get over it? I say it to a woman as quick as I say it to a man. Who hurt you? Get over it. You still harboring that anger? You got a bitter heart. That's what we call it when we see it. A hardened heart. Okay, well, men, there's a lot of hardened heart men, but I don't want to go in that direction right now, y'all. But we can go there, and we only got about 10 minutes. But I want to go back to the subject. Put up the picture with the hands. This is why I said it's a choice. What's up, Coach Fur? That right there. I don't know if y'all ever saw this. I just got hip to it last week. Do y'all know what that is?
I have no idea.
It's
What's
UNICEF.
going on?
That is a safe, that is where it's safe to bring your child if you want to give up the responsibility. If you see that sign right there, they have a place where you can actually bring the child, no questions asked, and put up the other one. That symbol right there, y'all, is a safe haven of if you want to give up your child. Now, the next clip are the states' rules. You got that next one?
Yeah, give me time. Bring it up right now.
Now this is going to be amazing, y'all. Look right there. I wish you could bring it, make it bigger. These are the rules for the states, and it's colorized because one is up to 3 days after the child is born. You can go to that place where their hands are and give up the child. Then there's some that's a week. Then there's some that's 30 days, up to a month, where you can just release your responsibility as a parent in these places. So that's why I said there are choices, because you don't have to choose. If you cannot, look at that. If in California, 3 days, all the yellows, 3 days. In green, that's a week. Wait, stop there. Go to the middle. You see that right there in the middle? Guess what state that is? It's a state called Nebraska. Guess when the rule is that you can give your child up if you don't want to assume the responsibilities as a parent. 18 years old. 18 years old. You got into so here's the running joke. If your child get on your nerves, just say, "No, let me have to move to Nebraska, because we can do that. I can go there and just release you. I can release my responsibilities as a parent in Nebraska up until you 18." Amazed me when I found out this information. And guess what? You go to there's hospitals with that symbol. There's fire departments with that symbol. There's a lot of different places with that symbol. I see the symbol. I just never knew that symbol represents a safe haven. That's what they call it, a safe haven where you can drop your child legally. You can drop the responsibilities, no questions asked, of parenthood. That's why, again, I showed this to my daughter. I said, it's not an obligation, it's a choice. And here are the laws in some of the states that support that choice. So you can have the child, you can say, I'm ready for it, and realize I'm not ready for it, and no questions asked, here's my child. Blew my mind. What do y'all feel about that?
I can't see it. Well, if I'm old school, you have a child, you gotta hang in there. You gotta make them sacrifices and do what you gotta do. I ain't giving up. I ain't giving up my child. I ain't have my woman give up my child.
Well, Keith, that's easy to say. If you didn't have the pressures of the child, but them pressures can sometimes. I agree with you. I'm old school like that too. I agree with you. Most people are old school like you. Most people, but it doesn't make
like I said, I haven't had no biological child, but every child I raised, their mother couldn't handle the child. The woman I'm dealing with, their mother couldn't handle. I wanted to handle the child.
Right, and God bless that, and God bless your choice. But the point being is that you just said both sides of the coin in that one statement. The mother who actually had it with the guy who wasn't you didn't and couldn't handle it. Luckily, there was a blessing of you who came into the world of that child to be able to give some balance and lend some balance there.
Yeah.
But they chose to give you that. They
Right.
chose to fall back because they couldn't handle it. Meredith said, amen. It is a choice for sure. She said, I think a great option for people with no options and subject the child to trauma and depression. Now, in fairness, you're right, Meredith, I agree. But in fairness, we don't know what that will have. We don't know what effect, because we don't know if they're going to a good person or a bad person. Foster care is you know, it's spotty. You don't know where it's going to be. But that goes with parenthood. That's just spotting as well. You don't know whether you're gonna be a good parent or a bad parent. You think you're gonna be a good parent,
And sometimes also is you might be a good parent, but
my
that's
mom
not
said
too.
until lights get turned off and you ain't got no place to live. Before we get off of here, because we're about to end it, Coach Ferg, welcome, brother. What do you have on this subject? If you've been listening in,
He actually stepped away from the computer.
I stepped. I'm back now. I just came back as you was saying my name, but I didn't hear the initial topic.
the
What
topic
was the
is
initial topic question?
it's parenting. Is it a choice or an obligation?
It's a choice, not an obligation. It's a God divine mission. I mean, if you have a child, so you saying from a parent's perspective?
No, I'm saying how it depends on how you want to look at it, because there's different ways.
All right, so I'm gonna take both sides. I'm a parent, so as a parent, if you have the child, that's to me. There's nothing more precious than a child being born of my seed. Right? When I look at that child and you got that same nose and everything that I got, when people see me compared to my father, they say I look just like him. But I don't think I did. You know what I'm saying? And when I look at my grandfather, he looked totally different. But the connection that goes to young brothers who struggle emotionally. If a father is not sort of there to sort of ruffle your feathers when you get out of pocket a little bit, that sort of makes you agitated. You get easily agitated by somebody disagreeing, women, but a father, shit, that's a godly, even for parent brothers too. You got once the child is here, you got 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyes. I don't know. It's
What you missed?
that's
What
a
you missed? We
blessing.
put up a chart. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Coach Ferg, but what you missed is we put up a chart where there's there's a symbol of hands holding a heart.
I saw the hand. I saw that.
That's a safe haven symbol of where you can give up a child if you want to give up your parental rights after they're
But but but
after they're
that's
born.
but that's also. But see, to me, I look at it again. Two sides to everything I see. That also it could be a sign that represent the protection
No,
of
I'm
a
saying with you.
baby.
It's a sign, literally, of safe haven.
I know what you're saying. I've seen the sign. I've I work with people, so yeah. But I also explain it to them as this. There's also a sign that say, hey, the love of a precious baby heart should come from a mother and a father. That's a two-sided thing to me. So just for that right there, it's
Yeah,
like this, and the heart's in the
yeah.
middle. So to me, it's a divine ordinance through a higher power that a child came through. The issue is we are out of that
We
whole
out of
life
touch.
in a sense in America. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. And when you have sex, uh, especially, and I'll say this for us, what I've learned is that we just having random sex and the woman get pregnant, we take the divine energy away from us. We give it away.
Woo!
But again,
Lord.
that's something that's under default, especially over the last 40 years, it's under default because a lot of men are not getting messages from other men as children. I can talk, Groomie, you know I talk a lot. I think I talk a lot, right? But I'm talking to grown folk on YouTube. But so to me, it's a lot of men who don't have children, who think about having children. That don't mean that they bad guys. You know, I think a lot of men own too much negative energy outside of them instead of embracing themselves. And I'll say this and I shut up. The one thing I appreciate about my father is that he talked to me when he saw me on the bullshit. He got in my,
in that part.
you know what I'm saying? And that's all he needed to do because I had 5 sisters in the house. None of them was before they got out of high school. My older sister been married since fucking damn high school, it seemed like. She got, you know what I'm saying? She got, then my mother had other children after me. I had an older sister. She been married twice, and the first time, whatever the dude was doing, he wasn't trying to really elevate. She married another dude about 2 years later. They've been married 20-some years, you know what I'm saying, out in Virginia Beach. Me, I'm in the middle. I'm the wild child. I was listen, I was Gen X. We got new technology, new opportunities. Y'all mamas and aunties and cousins, Sean, you know, they was slanging that thing around. They was monkeying it.
Yeah.
Then I'm trying to be respectful, you know what I'm saying? But then drugs hit, crack era took off behind. A lot of those kids are now adults. And they seen devastation. So that's the tricky part. However, they recognize that, right? So we still having children at an alarming rate outside of a union of mother and father.
Ooh, you said
Most boys, I remember when we had chests, we wanted to build our chest. Now dudes got breasts. I remember when guys had calf muscles. Now I used to be like, this dude ain't got no calf muscles. He's not really doing nothing productive. That's me. But at the same time, not every woman liked me. My parents got on me when it came for me to school, disrespecting elders and not pulling my weight. You go over a lot of people. I'm gonna shut up, man. I'll say this. It's the crazy part about this whole love and parenting thing, right? I've been going in people's houses, man, for 30 years. A lot of these niggas, and I say niggas is nasty, messy. They don't clean up the children. Matter of fact, when the children can walk and talk, that's when they supposed to be in structure. Going to bed at 9, cleaning up their room, taking baths. Everybody in the house has to be productive. Everybody. Can't nobody be lagging. One person lag, everything goes down. And if it's not a man there, regular dude. Dude, first job was at the cleaners. He know how to dry clean some clothes. Good at that shit. That don't make him a bad dude when it comes to being a father. But that's the way society got us looking like, oh, dude, they tell us to pull out by our bootstraps. Where are we supposed to start from? From our bootstraps. So when a brother pulls his bootstraps up early, the rest of his life is God's sin.
Man.
Work hard, don't children out of wedlock, eat right. I believe, and this is me, a single dude, 21 to 41, 50, you ain't getting no ass every day. You supposed to be in good shape. That's me. That's how I grew up. That's how I hang right there. But I mean, love is, man, ain't no perfect parent out there. Ain't no perfect parent. But parents take away their blessing because they don't want to give the kids things that they know the kid need. And kids lose their blessing because they still mistreat their parent. And where's the father? He's nowhere in sight. He got to love himself. And a lot of dudes don't even know how to love themselves. You love yourself first every day. Every day. Love you and God. That's it.
Coach.
And that,
but that's where you got to break out of. You done already lived through the worst part. You done already lived through. You got a new day. You wake up tomorrow. If you don't do it, take the pride down and say, hey, God, how can I do this? You seen people be around people, the same people all the time. So we know how, listen, I've been knowing how black people move since I was about 5, 6 years old. We funny, we talented, we creative, we arrogant, we sort of we athletic, uh, we talk, we joke on each other, we find our ugliness. That's why you know I hear me say all the time, love you, and we make fun of it. We used to talk about how people lived smarter when as kids. Oh man, your house is dirty, your house is nasty. In a sense, it was a joke because back then you go over black people's house, shit was clean. Clean. There wasn't nothing laying around, no crumbs. Well, most black people worked. Mother, father, well, if it was a mother, father, they worked. And the kids was on task. Everybody was trying to elevate. But since my generation, we Gen X, the world said go do this. They snuck that dope in. Now people struggling about one of the most instinctive things of mankind is love. Love of a parent.
Well, on that note, because I told y'all we're gonna have an hour, it's about that time, y'all. We're about to close it down. Coach, I'm gonna let that be the last word because you did hit a lot of nails. I want to have a show with you guys, Coach Ferg and Uncle Keith, because about the crack era. So in the future, I'm gonna call y'all because I know Coach speaks about it all the time. Uncle Keith, you know about it directly as well, and I definitely have my viewpoints on the crack era and how it actually touched our community, and so I'm gonna talk to y'all about that. That's gonna be a subject we're gonna have.
Well, let me know. I gotta go to meet before I talk about that. I gotta make a meet before I start talking about that.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that.
Nah, it's all right.
Because again, there's two sides to the ugly, and that's
well, that's the point that I want to have. So so we're gonna do it. We're gonna find the guidelines, offline. We're gonna find the guidelines of what we can and can't and how we gonna approach it. And it'll probably be in a couple of weeks, a few weeks when y'all both are available. But I definitely want to tap on that because Coach Ferg, you tapped on it today, and a lot of what you were saying has to do with that. And I see my cousin. He also I want you to come up in here, Emmanuel. I want him to come up in there too because we want to hear the crack stories. Is what they.
But yeah, that era destroyed a lot of black men.
Man, let's talk about it. But right now we're gonna wrap it up. So the consensus today.
A lot of people. Period. It destroyed a lot of people. Period.
I agree. But the consensus of what we learned today, ladies and gentlemen, from our session last week, and we're gonna tune in next week for same bat time, same bat channel. But what we did learn and what we agree with is that being a parent is a choice. It's not an obligation. Now, to everybody's point as well, once you choose to be a parent, it's an obligation. But prior to making that choice of being a parent, it's a choice. So that's kind of where I think the disconnect comes from for those who feel like it's an obligation before the choice. If you can't handle it, you might not want to choose it. And a lot of people don't know how to really deal with that when they're not able to handle it. They all the cliches of, oh, it'll come to you, you'll learn, time will teach you. That sounds good, but it doesn't always happen. And we got to be real about when it's not happening so that we can have a village to help us out and show that vulnerability to come together and we can help one another. But when you are sitting in that standpoint of, nah, it's going to come, I'll learn it, we're going to have some issues, and those issues are going to lead to the child being dysfunctional. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for joining us. Peter, Uncle Keith, Coach Ferg, thank you for joining us. I want to keep it short, y'all, because I don't want to go on for hours. So let's next week chime in early so that we can get on the next subject. If y'all have any subject ideas that y'all want to discuss, please email me, text me, or call me, and we can see if we can do it. And I can ask you to be a special guest if you have some. I already said one of them that I do want to do with the two brothers right here, being Coach Ferg and Uncle Keith. is the crack era and the effect that it had on our community. That will be in the near future. And as well, I just want to thank y'all to joining this, which was triggered from last week of saying that parenting, ladies, because y'all were the ones who was opposed to it. It's not an obligation, although you might feel that way. It's not an obligation, it's a choice. And don't, when you take it on as an obligation, when you're not ready for that choice, it can lead to some disastrous outcomes. And that's kind of what we're suffering with, and not just the ladies, but all those who are making that choice that are not mature enough to handle it. So with that, those are my final words. If y'all got any final words, speak on it, and then we're going to get on out of here.
Hey, you said enough. It's a choice, and that's a decision. You know, that's a decision we got. It's a decision we got to make each and every day. You know, on a daily basis.
So Sean, okay, I gotta ask this question. So
Yes,
is
sir.
being a parent a choice or parenting a child a choice?
Well, the parenting a child is
Uh,
what I was referring to.
yeah,
Not
if you
being a parent, not physically bringing the child into this world. Even though
okay,
that is a choice as well. But the
yes,
point of
but
parenting is the choice that you, even if you brought them into the world, that's where that safe haven thing came in. And I don't know if you saw it, but we put up a chart. And most of the states it's 3 days after it's born. Then there's some states that have up to a week. Then they have some states that's up to 30 days. And then there's Nebraska, right in the middle of the country, where
mhm,
up until 18, you could bring your child to that safe place and release your parenting authority.
yeah, it's
So,
a law there.
kids, let this be a note. If you get on your parents' nerves, don't let them have to move to Nebraska.
All right, guys, this is a good
All
one.
right,
All right,
All
Sean.
right,
Anything
y'all.
else?
Coach, did
all
you
right.
have something?
Good night,
Coach,
everybody. Y'all be easy.
yeah, you too, keep.
All
Coach,
right, guys.
I saw you saying something. Did you want to close out?
Who, me?
No, Coach. I heard him saying something, so I was
Is
wondering if you want to
the
close
ball
out.
guy?
He's frozen right now. All right. Well, oh, there you go. Did you want to say something to close out?
It seems like I'm frozen, man. I got a bad connection. But
You
no, man,
was, but
You're good now.
I'll say this, interesting show, man. Interesting show, man. I may have to, I was asleep. I had things to do today, man. But, yeah, hit me up,
Oh,
man.
please.
I start my
definitely.
basketball season in less than 2 weeks. Boy, I'm gonna be
Uh
showing them
oh.
little girls how to. I'm gonna be
Uh oh.
coaching girls too.
I
And
better
I'm
catch you early then. So yeah,
no,
we definitely
and I'm coaching girls basketball too. So it's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
okay. Okay. Well,
Remind him you're married.
good blessings with that. We definitely. I'm gonna call you up early
Mhm.
because I definitely want to have the participation. I'm gonna do it earlier so we can end quickly and go about our Friday night business and not take up each other's time all night Friday evening. So with that being said, thank you both for joining. Wife School Podcast. We just saw you on here. We're getting ready to close out though. So next week, come join us. Check out the show if you didn't. Subscribe, like to all of the channels. Everybody here has their own channel. Subscribe to them all, like them all, and support them all. Till next time, God bless. Be safe. Be happy. Peace.